More lately, we've shifted to how do we make us a more accessible, a better outdoor community. And again, this is where the private-public partnerships come into play. Our community is healthy, they're active, they're engaged, and they're wanting more and more access to the outdoors. And so the capital improvement projects lists, they continue to grow. What we've been able to do is really come in and kind of help fill that void. I'll give you a good example of how we did that. We have the Roanoke River, which runs through the city of Roanoke. It actually runs through Salem, Roanoke County as well, and so we have a lot of people that are wanting better access to that river, kayak put-ins and takeouts. Again, the city has a long list of capital improvement projects, so putting in some different access points is a little bit lower on that list. What we're able to do is to kind of step in and bridge that gap. So we're able to privately crowdfund money to build a kayak launch onto the river called the Kayak Launch at the Bridges. So we crowdfunded in about 3 months, $50, $100 donations, some corporate sponsorships. We crowdfunded about $77,000. We were able to build that kayak launch, and then once it was built, we were able to hand it over to the City Parks and Recreation, who folded it into their parks portfolio. And between City Parks and Recreation and Stormwater, they maintain that. So it's again an example of how the private community is really a step up, put their dollars where they wanted it to, fund this, build it, and then give it to the city. So we were able to step in and fill that gap. Another thing that we realize is social equity and the need for us to reach more into underserved neighborhoods and communities to get more and more people into the outdoors. And so we started an Outdoor Explorers Mentor Program in partnership with Big Brothers Big Sisters and the City of Roanoke Parks and Recreation. And these are basically outdoor mentor clubs, where for ages 8 to 10 and 11 to 13, where once a month they go on different outdoor outings. So they get to really get out and experience our community. One month they may go for a hike. The next month they may go tubing on the Roanoke River. They might go to a climbing gym afterwards. So it's once a month they're getting these different outdoor outings and really getting exposed. And then they're paired with adult mentors. So the kids are paired with adult mentors, which is really helping kind of bridge the gap between our different communities. Another thing we've done, based on our gap analysis, again, is identify what's missing. Whether it's, how you pay for a trail fee at a trailhead, making that more accessible, making that more user-friendly, or identifying that we didn't have a climbing gym. So we didn't have a climbing gym in our neighborhood, and so that's where we were able to kind of come together with a private developer and work with them to show, hey, would you be interested in put a climbing gym in your development? They said if you can show there's a demand for it. We were able to survey our community, get feedback that then helped shaped and developed a business plan for the River Rock Climbing Gym, which was able to open up and has been successfully operating for going on 5 years now. So it's another example of how we're able to kind of identify what's missing, work with the private sector, the public sector, to kind of fill those gaps and figure out what works. So if the public sector isn't capable to do it, we'll go into the private sector and find that. And so what we've been able to do is really get our community to realize the old adage, rising tides lift all ships, but we're able to get them to realize that, hey, where we live, the beauty of where we live is one of our greatest assets. So how do we leverage that? How do we put intentionality into that? Because intentionality matters. So how do we put an emphasis on that, and so that we can make things happen? And that's one of the things that when you have these public-private partnerships going on, things happen at a faster rate than if we're doing them in silos.